Good morning. Welcome to Second Unitarian Church. I am Nana Cross, a member of the church's Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are she and her. Things are changing in our city, and our response to COVID safety as a congregation is also beginning to change. There is an updated policy on our website, and we are working to return to in-person services at the sanctuary as quickly as possible. The board has created a task force, including essential leaders, to make the best decisions to get us all together as quickly, safely, and ethically as possible. This week, you will see in your email an opportunity to share your suggestions on how our reopening might best suit your needs and the needs of our whole church. For those of you joining us online, you will notice that there is a chat feed available for you to interact with. You're welcome to use this to say hello to one another and share your joys or concerns when we reach that time in the service. When we would traditionally sing together and read things in unison, you are encouraged to do so as well, even though you are on mute. Our voices echo through the world, so we might just hear one another if we listen closely and sing with our full spirit. For everyone at the park, if you are distanced from each other, you do not need to wear a mask. If you are immunocompromised, unvaccinated, or have any other reason that wearing a mask feels better for you, please do so. We especially welcome newcomers this morning. During this time of pandemic, finding a new community and making new connections can be challenging. Please know that we are excited to have you and look forward to getting to know you. If you are new to us today, you are welcome to note that in our chat. Our worship today is led by Reverend Jason Lydon, along with worship associate Margot Horn and chalice lighter Daniel. Our music is provided by our acting director of music, Carl Kennedy, Laura McKee, and Gail Gallagher. Alicia Obando, our director of faith development, is leading the time for all ages. Our tech team are Amanda Thompson, Harris McKee, Christy Grant, John Hoke, Tyler Dustin, and David Martin. I have a couple of announcements for you this morning. You should have received a survey from the Capital Campaign team about what your dreams are for our building. We have already received over 50 responses, which is excellent. We want to hear from everyone. Please be sure to get your responses in as soon as possible. The deadline is June 14th. We need to include all ideas as we continue meeting with our architects. Summer religious education classes started for children last week. The classes are happening on Saturday mornings right here in the park and occur twice a month. If you have not registered your child for classes, please reach out to Alicia Obando. The summer will focus on activities, connecting to the earth, and embracing the 7th UU principle. You can find more information and additional announcements in your order of service. I now welcome Margot Horn to lead our call to worship.
We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults, a people of many beliefs and traditions, bound not by the specific list of things we believe, but the values we share. Whether you are joining us for the first time or for the 1000th time, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. Whatever your race, whomever you love, whichever way you move in the world, however much money is in your pocket, you are welcome here. I invite you, as you feel ready, to take a breath in and out. As the music begins, let us enter into our service together.
Good morning. This song is a very old song. I think it was very popular right around the time I was born. So if you know it, please feel free to sing along. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, every one. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the young girls gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young girls gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young girls gone? They've often married everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the young men gone? Long time passing. Where have long time ago? Where have all the young men gone? They're all in uniform, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the soldiers gone? They're all in graveyards, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. Where have all the graveyards gone? They've gone to flowers, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Everyone, where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
Thank you so much, Laura. In a moment, Daniel and I will light our chalice, the symbol of our faith. And we do so this morning with these words from Reverend Amy Zucker Morgensen. Within the heart of the flower, the fountain of beauty. Within the heart of the community, a fire that warms and dances. Within the heart of each of us, a spark of the spirit of life. Holy, holy, holy. Daniel, let's light our chalice together.
So as we're returning to some of our past practices, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and sing along the first hymn, Here We Have Gathered.
Here we have gathered.
join me in reciting our covenant. The words are on your screen. We covenant to build a community that challenges us to grow and empowers us to honor the truth within ourselves. We will be generous with our gifts and honest in our communication, holding faithful to a love that embraces both diversity and conflict. Called by our living tradition, we will nurture spirituality within a vision of the eternal, living out our inner convictions through struggles for justice and acts of compassion.
All right. Please join me in singing Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. It is now time for our story for all ages. So if any of the young ones want to move forward so you can see the pages, and those of you at home, you can ask your children to join you now. Our book today is called Raymond's Perfect Present. All right, here comes Ben. Come on up. Don't be afraid. You can sit right here. Ever since his mother had come home from the hospital, Raymond wasn't supposed to go outside. It's best if you stay indoors until your mother gets better, said Mrs. Silver, who lived next door and helped Raymond and his mother. She'll worry if you're not here. So every day Raymond came home after school. Inside the small apartment, it was dim and quiet. Often his mother would be asleep in her room. Raymond would grab some cookies and juice and then sit in front of his bedroom window and watch the world outside. Many people passed by. Some walked briskly, phones held to their ears. Men delivered boxes and furniture. Mothers pushed babies in strollers. One day, Raymond saw a man with flowers hurrying down the street. A woman appeared and the man presented her with his gift. She accepted the flowers with a smile. Maybe I could buy Mom some flowers, thought Raymond. Raymond's mother had once lived on a farm, and she often told him about the sweet-smelling flowers that grew there and about the birds that had tapped on her bedroom window looking for food. I love the city, but I'm missing all the living, growing things, she always said. After school the next day, Raymond stopped at a flower shop. The colors were dazzling, but when he held out his money, the shopkeeper shook his head. At that price, I'd be giving away my flowers, the shopkeeper said. Come back with more money, and I'll give you a good deal. When Raymond got home, Mrs. Silver was warming soup for his mother. He tried not to look upset, but Mrs. Silver noticed anyway. Raymond, what's wrong? She asked. So Raymond told her his plan and his problem. Suddenly, he thought of a solution. Seeds, Raymond exclaimed. The kids in Mr. Oliva's science class grew flowers. I can do that. That's a nice idea, Mrs. Silver said. Seeds don't cost much, and Mr. Silver can bring you some pots and soil. That night, Raymond was too excited to sleep. Growing flowers from seeds. What a wonderful idea. The next day, Raymond stopped at the hardware store. A rack of seed packets displayed pictures of flowers and vegetables. He bought the seeds he wanted, then he hurried home. On the kitchen table, Mrs. Silver had left him 5 pots, a bag of soil, 2 cookies, and a note. The note said, "Good luck," and had directions for planting the seeds. Raymond ate the cookies, then carefully followed Mrs. Silver's instructions. Her note said to put the pots in the sun, so he set them on the ledge outside his window. Raymond watered his pots every day. Soon, tiny shoots emerged from the soil. They grew taller and taller. They sprouted leaves, then bigger leaves. Finally, green buds appeared and grew fat. Raymond couldn't wait for the buds to burst into color so he could surprise his mother. He couldn't wait for her smile, really smile, and laugh again. Before his flowers could bloom, Raymond's mother got worse. Mr. Silver took her back to the hospital. Mrs. Silver helped Raymond gather some of his things so he could stay in their apartment. "Don't worry," Mrs. Silver said. "The doctors will take good care of her." Raymond kept his clothes folded neatly on an armchair, did his homework without being told, and dried the dinner dishes. Mrs. Silver asked him questions about school. Raymond answered, but he didn't really feel like talking. All he could think about was his mother. On Saturday, the Silvers took Raymond to see his mother. The hospital was too bright with funny smells and strange machines. Raymond felt small and a little scared. His mother was asleep, but woke up when they entered the room. She looked tired and worried. "I miss you. Are you being good? Are you listening to Mr. and Mrs. Silver?" "Yes, Mom." Raymond didn't know what else to say. Then he remembered, "Are you coming home soon? I have a surprise for you, something I think you're really going to like." "A surprise for me? Wow." Raymond could tell his mother was trying to sound excited. "She just needs something pretty, that's all," thought Raymond as he kissed his mother goodbye. He thought of his flowers and he smiled. Even though his mother was away, Raymond still went to school. Mrs. Silver let him go home each afternoon to get clean clothes and check on his pots. Twice a week, Mr. and Mrs. Silver took Raymond to visit his mother. He always brought books to read to her. At last, the flowers began to bloom. Pink and white and yellow and purple, scarlet and orange. Busy insects landed and departed with a blur of wings. Butterflies unrolled their long tongues to sample the nectar. Raymond invited the Silvers to see the cheerful display. "It's lovely," said Mrs. Silver. "Your mother's going to be so pleased." Each day, more flowers opened. Raymond moved his pots to the ledge outside his mother's bedroom window. He sat on her bed and watched the insects come and go. He wished his mother were home. A week passed. Raymond noticed that some flowers had turned brown. He ran to Mrs. Silver. "What's wrong with my flowers? Why are they sick?" "They're not sick, Raymond. Flowers only bloom for a short time. I'm sorry that your mother isn't here to see them." Mrs. Silver put her hand on Raymond's shoulder. "But she's much better now. She'll be coming home on Sunday." "I know you miss her. Won't it be nice to have her back?" Raymond wanted his mother to come home, but Sunday was 4 days away. How long would his flowers last? The next day and the next, more flowers lost their color. Their heads dropped. Raymond felt like drooping too. He begged them to wait. "Don't die, flowers. Not now, not yet." The flowers didn't listen. One after another, each flower's sunny face faded to brown. Dried petals flurried to the street and scattered on the sidewalk. Sunday finally came. It was almost dark when the taxi arrived. Raymond and Mrs. Silver hurried downstairs to greet his mother and Mr. Silver. Raymond gave his mother a gentle hug. She looked stronger than before. "I feel better, I really do," she said. Raymond helped his mother get comfortable in bed. Afterwards, she stroked his hair. "I haven't forgotten your big surprise, Raymond," she said. "You can show it to me tomorrow." "Well, it's not much," said Raymond. "You might not even like it." He thought of the flowers with their ugly stalks and brown heads hidden behind the shade. If only his mother had seen them when they were beautiful. "Of course I'll like it. I'm sure your surprise is something special," his mother said, and turned off the light. Raymond lay awake in his bed. He felt awful. He didn't have a surprise for his mother, unless dead flowers counted as a surprise. In the meantime, those horrible pots would be the first thing she would see. Maybe I could come up with something else, he thought, but nothing seemed as good as his flowers. The next day, the sun woke Raymond. Morning. His mother must be awake. Slowly, Raymond got out of bed. He pulled on his jeans and his sweatshirt. He didn't want to go to his mother's room. He didn't want to see her disappointment. His mother must have heard him. Raymond, she called. Raymond, come here. Raymond dragged his feet down the hallway. He pushed open the door to his mother's room. Sunlight bounced off the white walls. Everything in the room shone. But brightest of all was his mother's face as she turned to him laughing. Raymond was confused until he saw behind her the window. Birds. A pigeon strutted along the ledge. Small brown birds worked busily, stripping seeds from the flowers. Red-headed birds chattered and argued, then took to the air. Raymond could hear the soft sound of their beating wings through the glass. Oh, Raymond, this is just like when I was small and I'd wake up to the birds on my windowsill. What a wonderful present. It's the best surprise, isn't it, Mom? Said Raymond. Yes, Raymond, his mother smiled, really smiled. The absolute best surprise. That morning and for 4 mornings afterward, Raymond ate breakfast sitting on his mother's bed. They watched the birds together. They talked and laughed and told stories just like they used to. By the following Saturday, the flowers were bare of all their seeds. Not one bird came, but that didn't matter. On that Saturday, Raymond's mother was better, much better, and it was a perfect day to go to the park. Thank you for joining me for our story.
Today is our annual flower communion. This ritual is one of the longest existing traditions within our Unitarian Universalist faith. The practice was originally created by the founders of the Czechoslovakian Unitarian Church, Reverends Norbert and Maha Čapek. These were 2 people who had lived their lives for justice. In the early days of the 1900s, the Čapeks were vocal advocates for Czechoslovakia's independence from the Austro-Hungarian Empire and for the separation of church and state. When news came that Norbert Čapek was to be arrested for conspiring against the government, he and his wife fled to the United States as political refugees. It was here that the Čapeks officially converted to Unitarianism. When the First World War ended, the Čapeks returned to their homeland with the intention of growing Unitarianism in their newly independent country. Their efforts were met with great enthusiasm, and they gave life to the largest Unitarian church in the world. While they were considered Christians, the Čapeks, who were now both ordained as Unitarian ministers, worked to ensure their church had space for all people who were seeking truth in whatever way they understood it. Nearly all members of their growing congregation in Prague had been part of the state church for years and were trying to imagine together what could be created in its place. Their congregation did not sing hymns, did not engage in congregational prayer, and they did not pass around the collection plate during the service. The service was focused on a reading from the Bible or occasionally a poem or 2, and then centrally focused on the sermon Norbert delivered. But the time came when the Čapeks believed that there was a need for some more ritual. There was a need for something beyond words that could bring the congregation together. They felt the desire for something that would engage more of their congregants' senses, a way to connect to one another and the divine that could reach deeper than a shared moment listening to a sermon. This was how they created the first flower festival on June 24th, 1923. The Čapeks encouraged members of their congregation to bring a flower with them to church that Sunday. Members were encouraged to bring a flower from their own garden or pick a flower on their way to church. If they could not find a flower, they were welcome to bring a leaf or a twig anything they could that would contribute to the larger bouquet that would represent the great beauty of their community. The flower was meant to be a symbol of the individual's gifts, talents, and strength that they offered to the congregation. It was meant to be an offering that was shared with others and given freely with love. As our service continues, we will talk more about this ritual and celebrate more of who we are as a congregation filled with life and love.
Thanks, Margot. Different from the Chappics and their church gatherings, we do take a collection each Sunday. And we do this not just to support ourselves, but in addition to the pledge commitment we make each year, we also share our resources beyond our church community. And in just a moment, those of you online will see a phone number on your screen that will tell you how to make your donation this morning. And those gathered here will find that information in your order of service. For the month of June, we had the great honor and celebration of sharing our resources and our plate with the Little Village Environmental Justice Organization. And this morning, we're going to hear some words from Brenda. Thank you so much for joining us. And you can come right on up.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today. My name is Brenda Becerra, and I am the Senior Development Associate at the Little Village Environmental Justice Organization. The mission of Elvejo is to organize with our community to accomplish environmental justice in Little Village and achieve the self-determination of immigrant, low-income, and working-class families. For over 20 years, Elvejo has worked on a number of environmental issues, from food justice, water justice, brownfield redevelopment, to solar workforce development and open space. Elvejo has been able to accomplish what it has due to its strong community relationships and leadership development of community members. The pandemic has affected our programming like many other organizations and has highlighted the inequalities and environmental issues we continue to face. We need supporters like you more than ever to join in solidarity with us. We invite you to join our newsletter, El Girasol, which you can register through our website at www.lvejo.org to stay up to date on events and action items. We also have monthly garden and park cleanup days, so be sure to also follow us on social media. We have an upcoming Little Village Memorial Mass at La Vida Park on June 19th at 12 p.m. And we have a garden cleanup days on June 24th, July 29th, and August 26th at our garden at 2727 South Troy Street. Mask and social distancing will be required. Thank you again for having me. I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday.
Now, I invite you to join me in reading our offertory words. The words are printed in your order of service and are on your screen. This church is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm it and enable its participation in the larger world around us. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received.
Even during this time of global pandemic, when we have been having our services online, our church has continued to welcome new people. It is a joyous occasion to celebrate new members. There are quite a few of these new members here in the park today, as well as some joining via Zoom. One of the beauties of our hybrid services is a reminder that participating in person or online are both valuable and authentic ways to engage in church life. Our adaptability is truly a blessing. For our in-gathering celebration this morning, we're going to welcome all those new members who are here at the park to come, and you can start making your way to join me up here at the pulpit. As they do so, if you are a new member and joining virtually, you can follow the words on your screen that you should be able to see shortly. And for those gathered here, you'll want to follow the words in your order of service. So hopefully you have that with you as you're coming forward. And if not, we can do some sharing. You want to bring your order of service. Sorry for not sharing that ahead of time when inviting you forward. And John Rice is also going to come forward and will be here as our chair of the board, leading us through this. And the words that we use for our ritual this morning come from the Unitarian Universalist poet and theologian, Kenneth Patton. And so I welcome all those who are gathered here up. Oh, wonderful. That's a great place to stand if you all want to stand over on that side. Lovely. After we do our words and actually change of plans, if you're willing, would love for each of you to come forward and just say your name before we go forward with our ritual. So people, you can just one at a time kind of pop up and just say your name, and then we can keep going forward. Yeah, and then we can make the line back around. Yeah, come on here and then around the tree.
All right. Hi, I'm Christy Leach.
Roberto Merwin.
Hi, everybody. I'm Grace Grindell.
Good morning. I'm Joy Messenger. This mic is very sensitive.
Good morning. I'm Ash Bowen.
Good morning. I'm Janet Lockwood.
Good morning. I'm Len Lockwood.
Hello, I'm Christina Marcus. Hi, I'm Kristen Beasley.
Hi, I'm Greg Hawk.
I am Mike Matura.
Hi, I'm Chris Leonard.
So everyone has their order of service open to the right spot. And I'm reading and then you're responding to what I read. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature. It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person. It is a house of truth seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion of their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers. Yeah, I was waiting for that airplane.
Got too excited. Well, certainly as your minister, I so welcome you new members of 2U and to this beautiful congregation gathered and to those who are online and are being invited to unmute yourselves right now, are these new members welcome?
Great noising.
Enjoy.
Thank you all so much. Some flowers. You get to go home essentially with a whole bouquet. And as you receive your flower, you are welcome to make your way back to where you are seated. Excellent. So Second Unitarian has been around since 1857, and countless people have been members of our congregation, each one adding to the story of who we are. Each one is part of the pages in the books that tell our story. A membership book can be thought of as a sacred document. It is sacred because the people make it so. It's not made sacred by any otherworldly divine being, though maybe your understanding of God plays a part in how you feel the sacredness of our collective to you story. There are dates in this book that Judy will bring forward in a moment that date back before anybody gathered here was born. We know that we rest upon the shoulders of those who came before us. And now it is time for a new book so that we can keep telling the story of Second Unitarian. The old stories mustn't be lost. We are only here because they came first. Instead, by remembering where we came from and charting a way into new pages, we have a truer sense of what it means to be a congregation and to be who it is that we are becoming. This new membership book that we have was made possible by the passionate and dedicated labor of many people. And Judy Corbet is going to come up and share just a little bit of how this book came to be. And you can bring the books with you if you wouldn't mind.
I love our old membership book. I love the look of it and the history it contains. We think it dates to the 1920s, but it could be older than that. I wonder what those members must have thought, knowing by its size that it was going to contain many names and last many, many years. In the mid-1980s, when I joined 2U, it was a huge deal for me to join this church. And signing my name in the old book seemed worthy. So when we began to realize we would run out of room, it presented a big challenge. We couldn't just go to the Hallmark store and buy a book. We actually looked at membership books at 4 other UU churches, and nothing matched ours. A small committee of Tom Kepler, Monica Drain, Reverend Adam Robersmith, Andrew Zeller, and I began to research how we could create something new. The project began in 2015 and finished in 2018, 3 years. It would not have come to fruition without Tom's creative skills and Monica's organization and diligent research in finding local artists and craftspeople. This book was made here in Chicago, all by local craftspeople. It needed to be a ceremonial document worthy of the significance of becoming a member of 2U. We finally filled up the old book, and now we launch this new historic book. With it, we honor the names of 2 couples without whom we might not be here. Marianne and Richard Brandon, and Esther and Seymour Fleischman. 100 years from now, will someone wonder about us? The way in which we gather in new members, the ritual signing in this gorgeous historic document, and then welcoming them with great rejoicing, which I know we have been doing for years, has real significance, both for the new members and also for those of us welcoming them. I love our new book, and I can't wait for you to take a peek at it.
So you saw the old book. This is our new one. And I know that we all have our different theologies, thoughts, and opinions about the idea of blessing. I want you to join me in both thoughtful and playful reflections on blessing. Whether you believe in a spirit that lives within you and connects to the universe, or you appreciate the scientific truth that everything is made up of atoms vibrating at different frequencies, I want you to rub your hands together, get them as fast as you can, and feel the heat generated between your palms. And as you do so, hold in your heart your blessings, hopes, dreams, and aspirations for the future of this, our congregation. And now in just a second, I'm going to ask you to face your palms forward to bless this book. And whether you're doing so online or right here in the park, it doesn't matter. The blessings will go in every which direction, and they will make it where they need to be. Maybe they're imaginary. Maybe they're your heart's intention. Maybe science and spirituality merge beautifully to shower our book with all of what it is that you are holding in your heart and all that we are making space for as we will become who we become. Let us raise your hands forward and bless our beautiful book. And now our book indeed is blessed with your love. Thank you all so much. So before we begin our time for meditation and prayer, I just want to invite you to move your body with me a little bit. All of our bodies are different, and you may move your body differently than I move mine. So do the parts that feel good for you, or adapt the parts that do not. Just want you to raise your right arm above your head. Extend your fingers. Allow your body to stretch. Then move your left arm out, making an L. Again, extending your fingers, feeling your body stretch. And then I invite you to bring both of your hands to your hearts. And then lift your left hand up above your head, extending and stretching, letting your fingers reach high. And extend out your right arm, making an L, letting your fingers move. And then again, return to your heart. And let us breathe together, my friends. We begin in thanks. Thankful for the breath in our lungs, the beauty of our earth, and the strength of this, our community. We hold in our hearts those who care for family and ill health, those who live with grief or chronic pain, those struggling with addiction or illness seen and unseen, we are with you. For parents and teachers and all those whose primary spiritual practice is the care of children, we are with you. We pray for our neighbors in prison, for those struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty, we are with you. We pray for all those living in harm's way. Pray for our planet and commit to work that will lead us away from the harms of climate chaos. We pray that wisdom, compassion, empathy guide the leaders of our world. May they and we be instruments of a just and lasting peace. Our lives are truly blessed by those who knowingly, with curiosity and courage, face their final days. Into this, our shared silence, I invite you to speak out the name of anyone you wish to lift up into the loving support of our community. With our deepest compassion, let us hold in our hearts those named and unnamed, those remembered and those forgotten. Let it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Traditionally, I would light 2 candles, but we don't have those today. So today, we will represent our joys and celebrations, those moments of great jubilation that maybe you've experienced this week or you are going through right now with this leaf. And we will use this leaf to represent those sorrows, struggles, hardships that you too might be experiencing this week. And as the music plays, those of you who are joining online, you can share your joys and concerns in our chat window. And those of you here, I invite you to attend to that which is weighing heaviest or is lightest upon your heart. We hold all of these, our shared joys, concerns, sorrows, and celebrations close to our hearts. Now, I know some of you are anxious thinking that I'm about to preach a 20-minute sermon, but don't worry, that's not happening. There's just a couple more pieces to go. The first flower communion in the United States occurred at the First Parish Church in Cambridge in 1940. The service was led by Reverend Maya Chapik. While she was leading the service in this country, her husband and daughter were both being targeted by the Nazis for their religious and political leadership. Norbert Chapik was eventually sent to Dachau, where he was held with other political prisoners. Legend has it that he introduced the Flower Communion Festival to the men he was incarcerated with. The story goes that he encouraged each of the men to bring back to their bunks whatever stick, leaf, or blade of grass they could find. That even in the darkest moments of life, they could find beauty in one another. Norbert Chapek did not survive the concentration camp. So those who did reported afterwards that he was one that inspired others to survive. His unwavering faith and ministry nurtured those around him. I wonder if you have ever noticed dandelions growing out of the crevices or cracks in the sidewalk when you move about our city. I wonder if you've seen moss growing over stones by the lake. Maybe you have seen new growth in places you thought were never possible. As we in the United States have access to vaccines and restrictions on movement are reduced and the need to wear face masks decreases, we are beginning to see new life. It's growing out of where it seemed almost impossible weeks, months, a year ago. The loneliness of isolation, the fear of being around people, the hiding away that kept us safe, but also changed us. This is now the time of flowering, of finding our blossoms and attending gently to our petals. This is a time of jubilation, dancing with one another, embracing the new and longtime friends that we have so longed to hold. This is a time of cracking open with life. Cracks of sidewalk and abandoned highways are hardly places designed for growth and beauty. Neither, too, was a pandemic designed for such a thing. Yet growth and beauty happen there anyway. A Nazi concentration camp is a place of great violence, and yet Reverend Chapek was able to cultivate beauty there anyhow. In this current moment we are living in, it can be a wonder about beauty as we step back outside. I know and assure you that beauty is possible, and we are creating it together. The flowers that you brought with you this morning, they represent the love and gifts that you have to share. This love, your talents, these gifts exist even when the soil is not as rich with the nourishment that we need. And this is part of why we come to church together, to connect our roots, to nourish one another, and to honor each other's beauty. And so I invite you at this moment to consider the flower that you have with you, whether you are here at the park or joining us via Zoom. What is the talent that you bring to Unitarian Universalism? What is the gift you bring to this congregation? What joy do you wish to share with others who have gathered together? As you hold the vision in your mind, as you hold your flower, I want you to offer this flower your blessing. Invite the flower to hold your gifts, to represent what you bring to our church. This is a practice of using your imagination. Take a moment, breathe, create that vision in your mind. And now those of you gathered here in the park, I want you to come forward and place your flowers in these vases. And those of you joining via Zoom, continue to focus on the beauty of your flower. And as you bring your flowers forward, we will hear our anthem.
What a joy to see everyone all together and to see the beautiful flowers. And I will admit, I was popping in and beautiful people online too. So please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing our closing hymn, Earth Was Given as a Garden.
Earth was given as a garden
During the flower festival, Norbert Chapek would offer these words over the flowers. Infinite spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. And so those of you gathered here at the park, as we wrap up, I invite you to come forward and take a flower that was not the one you brought up. And for those of you who are online, as you move to your breakout groups, I encourage you to offer your flower to someone in your coffee hour group. Even though they can't hold it in their hands, you can still offer it from your heart. And this is the close of our service, my friends. Take your flowers and go in peace. And those gathered here can stay around for some fellowship in this space. Thank you all so much.